Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up. Somebody roll that beautiful intro. You're going to love this one.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and digperspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $2.3 trillion market cap for crypto. The market's off by 0.7%, 63,100 plus for Bitcoin, 2,500 plus for Ethereum. And now it's been stuck at 2,300 for a while. So the market's up as it's back testing. Tether is at 119 billion plus right now. We see USDC at 35 billion plus. XRP's 58 cents. We're up 0.9 on the 24, up 0.1 on the 7-day. Careful what you call progress. We're ranging between 58 and 59 cents. We'll keep an eye on it right now. I do want to tell you about this, and check this remarkable opportunity out, ladies and gentlemen. It's linked to the best private equity in the world, and I don't mind telling you, Cerebras, ladies and gentlemen, today's AI revolution is powered by cutting-edge chip makers like NVIDIA, which is already blown up. That's already happened. But Cerebras has technology that they say absolutely makes NVIDIA look like a kid's game. Yeah, real, write it down. Cerebras has also said they're going public already. And you could still get the private equity on Link2. Links underneath the video. Sign up, register, get started today. It is an amazing opportunity. I love it. I got some. Why don't you get some? No, look, you got to make up your own mind, but I love private equity. I absolutely do. And you can get some too. Click the link underneath, sign up, register, get started today. Link2. Look at this. Ripple CEO issues a new warning and asks XRP holders to stop, spot, and avoid. And this is nice to do. We should do this, right? Every so often, remind ourselves, there are bad actors and scammers in this space, and they try to do these fake promotions. Now, this was something that was a hack that happened to the India's Supreme Court. And it was like a refresher for Brad Garlinghouse to go back and say, just to go back because we've had scammers. I've been scammed, had my page hacked in 23, and my YouTube channel was taken over with a scammer page. This is horrible, and it happens more often than it should, for sure. But Garlinghouse used this opportunity to issue a new warning to XRP holders to basically be very careful. Exercise precaution and safety. He said the company and its executives will never ask the XRP community to send any XRP to anybody. So it's a common scam tactic that's used, and it's a nice time to refresh everybody to be very careful. The other thing I'll say, to go one step further, whether it's email, text message, or what have you, if that's not coming from a vetted source, don't click on it. If you think it's something from a vetted source, like let's say you have a bank, right? Let's say the bank, ABC Bank, banks with you, and you've been there 10 years, and you get a text message, and they say it's from that bank. You know what I would do? I would not click on anything in that text message. I would go to my encrypted wallet where I have a link to my bank that signs in through encryption. And then I would look inside my bank to see if they've sent me a message. I ain't clicking on no link in my text, right? I'm not even clicking on a link in my email. I'll go sign into my original account, and if they want to talk to me, you could do it there. That's how I'm rolling these days. So I hope that helps at least a little bit to get everybody to just take a step, no matter what. Always assume that any link that's been sent to you is a scam first, and that'll help keep you safe. The U.S. Securities Exchange Commission has given the green light for listing and trading options for BlackRock. Oh, okay. So we already got the spot ETF for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now we're seeing approval from the SEC for these option contracts. The market is getting bigger, which is going to make it even deeper. Eric Balchunas, who is going to be speaking at Ripple Swell on these kinds of products like ETFs and options and other things, and we know XRP will be soon, I'm sure, and that's why he's going to be there, I would imagine. But the SEC has granted accelerated approval for the listing and trading of options for IBIT, which is BlackRock's spot fund, right? So order granting accelerated approval for the proposed change. And he goes on to say here, I'm assuming others will be approved in short order. Huge win for the Bitcoin ETFs, as it will attract more liquidity, which will in turn attract more big fish. No doubt about it. Deepens the market, right? And then here he says, important note that this is just one stage of approval. The OCC and CFTC has to approve as well before they officially list. The other two don't have a clock, and so not sure when they'll be approved. A big step, though, nonetheless, that the SEC came around. This is another sign that we may see the SEC backing off, but we have to wonder, why would they be doing that unless maybe the Harris team's planning on putting something through for an October surprise? I don't know. But I can say that I have said the clock to win favor from crypto is in fact running out to win favor of crypto voters at the polling booths. Anthony Scaramucci, founder of New York-based investment firm Skybridge Capital, which vested heavily into FTX and then acted like he didn't know it was a failure and a flop, and a dumpster fire, which means he either invests blindly, so he's not very bright, or he was neck deep in that crooked mess and he's trying to act like he wasn't aware of it. I'm choosing the latter, Anthony. Nevertheless, we see the challenging administration looking to come in and replace the Harris team here, which is not actually the president, but the vice president, needs to put up or shut up, because the reality is you spent 4 years with Operation Choke Point 2.0 just crushing this space, and it's time for it to change. However, that has not changed yet. Meanwhile, Ripple CTO David Schwartz wants the price to go up. I love this right here. Someone says to David, can you all stop suppressing the price already? David's answer is perfect. He says, I hold XRP. If there was some way I could get the price of XRP to go up, I assure you that I would do it. I think that would put that to bed there, Marcelo. You know what I mean? We got it straight from the source. If he can make it go up, he'd make it go up. Look, we need legislation. Isn't it obvious, right? There's no rabbit in the hat. We need legislation. This is why we were so pissed off for so many years. You know, as while the maxis of other coins were making fun of us, we were watching Ripple provide the money and legal defense that would help this entire crypto industry. You're welcome. You know, it is time for legislation, because that's the only way we're going to see the way the internet was truly adopted, was from the top down first. Right now, all we have is the bottom up without legal clarity. Give us legislative clarity and we can witness the military and governments adopt this technology, but not until then. But it must be coming soon. Ripple chairman Chris Larsen moves 20 million XRP days after shuffling 50 million. Well, here's what I say. I have no idea why this is, and I am absolutely speculating here. But I'm going with the angle that when I see Jeff Bezos and Tim Cook and others from major companies like Amazon and Apple and this one and that one selling off major shares of their company, I'm like, okay, we're about 6 months or 8 months away from some kind of crash, because that's why they're liquidating. And when I see Chris Larsen moving 20 to 50 million, shuffling around, the knee-jerk reaction that I have, which is speculative, is that, okay, he must think that the market's getting ready to go crazy and he wants to get a little cash out going. So these are like some shallow bags, right? Listen, when you're a billionaire, 20 million, 50 million is a shallow bag. Just get yourself used to it. So that's where my head is when I'm thinking about that. But let's take a look at this, because this is when you scratch the surface. Not only do you smell something, but when you scratch and dig away and get right down underneath the scab, you find Ripple right there. Look at this. Largest custodian bank in U.S., BNYMellon, reportedly got an exemption from adhering to the SEC's SAB 121 accounting guidelines, specifically for its institutional crypto custody operations. Oh, you don't say. So, very quickly, level set. SEC's SAB 121 is the rule that Gary Gensler made up so he could trouble the banks by saying, if you hold the customer's assets, you got to hold them on your balance sheet. And that caused problems for the banks, which means that the banks would have to match, if you had 1 million Bitcoin, they'd have to match it with $1 million to back it. And that's why banks are like, we're not doing that. That's the customer's assets. We shouldn't have to back those assets, right? And I understand it. They should merely have to hold them in a qualified custodian where they cannot be touched, right? So with that being said, we know that Custodia Bank and Caitlin Long have been beat down, and others have been beat down, refused a master account with the Federal Reserve because they actually want to start a bank that's completely backed 100%, getting away from fractional lending. And that, I believe, is exactly why they will not give Caitlin Long a license, because it would make the rest of the fractional lending banking system and all the banks in it obsolete. And that's why they don't want to give it to her. But they gave this exemption to BNYMellon and for its largest institutional crypto custody operations. BNYMellon gets the green light, has been granted for exemption of the SAB 121. This move is seen in a significant step towards greater institutional adoption of cryptocurrencies, which means that institutions can be taking positions right now that you and I don't know about. Okay? All right. So now, we know it's strong criticism, but that's where we're at. Now take a look at this. Look at Riz and Smoke Dog getting up like this on a Saturday morning to get down. Come on in. You better give them both a follow. BNYMellon and Ripple, they've been partnered for a long time. We know one of the Mellon sons had 10 million or more, 10 billion or some crazy number. It was a crazy number. It was millions or billions or whatever it was. XRP, and had them all broke around in different storage places. They said they don't know where all of them was. And then the guy died. Yeah, then one in the Mellon family died, and they said they don't even know where it all is. I bet that ain't true. I bet I know where it is. I know where all my stuff is now. And I ain't even got as much as they had. But here's the thing that's amazing about BNYMellon and the partnership with Ripple that they've had for years and years. BNYMellon classifies Ripple and Stellar as a special blockchain infrastructure protocol. Look at it. Special. So special. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's special to me too. Yeah, I'm loving this. Then there's the Tether CEO. Boy, you got to hear this. Listen, we have decentralized the ownership and decision-making of selling the U.S. debt, which is where the idea of having stablecoins and private issuance of stablecoins become a new use case to soak up the hyperinflated bonds that the rest of the countries of the world don't want to hold anymore. It's not rocket science. That's why the Secret Service and the FBI are there, partnered with them.
Our stable coins and their concept is changing what central banks, what investment banking know about liquidity. I mean, when you look at liquidity models for investment banks, for central banks, to what extent do you think that we need new liquidity models, liquidity strategies to cope with the existence of stable coins?
Well, let me give you the example of USDT, right? Because it's very, very real. So with USDT, we have more than $100 billion in US Treasury bills, in short-term US Treasury bills. Think about China had around $2 trillion 2-3 years ago in US Treasury bills, and now has $700 billion, give or take. A company like Tether, that is a private company, has more US Treasury bills holdings compared to UAE itself, compared to Australia and Spain.
So we're talking about countries here.
Exactly. If we are not a country, right? So it's quite interesting how it's turning out. But let's think about what does it mean, right? If the U.S. government sells its debt to counterparties, the biggest counterparties are countries. Countries have a Minister of Finance and they have a committee. They can decide to start selling holdings of USD bills, right? So what Tether does, and not many people think about it, is we have decentralized the ownership and decision-making of selling the US debt. We have 350 every time a person in Argentina purchases some USDT, we take that money and we buy T-bills. So we have 350 million. The decision to sell T-bills is decided by 350 million people.
You're not a government.
We are not a government, but also we are just a proxy. So we are not taking the decision.
We're just proxy. We're not the government. We're just proxy. Well, you are. because the Secret Service, which was originally created to track down counterfeit money, and the FBI are partnered with USD Tether. And we know that because Apollo Adorno sitting in that chair told us.
They are deciding. So it's much, much stronger. It's decided by 350 million
You're not
people.
a government.
We are not a government, but also we are just a proxy. So we are not taking the decision. They are deciding. So it's much, much stronger. So we are helping the US dollar to become stronger, more resilient, more decentralized. It's something that is unprecedented, and I'm really proud that Tether was able to start that.
How amazing would it be if we found out that this was just an entire proof of concept to test the idea of private issuance of the US dollar so they could use it as a bulkhead and a sponge to soak up at hyperinflated dollars because they knew this moment would be coming, right? And everybody could have a true digital dollar on their digital wallet on their phone. Now, I think that really makes sense. Now, how amazing would it be, and this, I'm like, we're out on the thin ice, but wouldn't it be incredible if we just white labeled Tether and said we're going to put it on the ledger, and now it's called the real USD, and it can be tracked and transparent, and $118 billion, $19 billion worth of liquidity sitting on the ledger, and it's on Ethereum and the XRP ledger? How incredible would that be? I mean, I have nothing to base that on other than just that. I think that would be incredible, you know? But nonetheless, even if it doesn't end up being white labeled to that, Tether should be something that's tracked where you can track it on something like the world's decentralized exchange so they can see where the transactions are going and all of the rest of it, right? And we ought to be able to see the reserves as well, which I know that the FBI and the Secret Service can, just nobody's telling us at this point. There's more to that story. We don't have a true regulated crypto market till we truly understand how the U.S. government is going to look at USD Tether once regulations are in place. We should see. We'll see what happens here. Top analyst says even XRP is cooking up something. I'm with you. I'm with you. Bring it. There's so many analysts out here, and this is not for any one particular thing other than to say as multiple analysts cited in this article, and they're all calling for 1,000% gains, 65,000% gains, you name it, and everything in between. And I say bring it on. I can tell you that because we know from this video that Ripple has been working with 50 governments around the world since way back in 2019. We know from this right here that Ripple is on the task force for the BIS, which is the central bank of central banks, and they're the only one on this list that deals with anything to do with distributed ledger or blockchain, and I love that. And then we see this. Ripple's recent trends in regional payments reports suggest FedNow could bridge the gap between traditional banking and decentralized finance, potentially driving mainstream adoption for XRP. I think so, because again, with the case being over, legislative clarity, why in the world could we not have FedNow be a real catalyst for XRP? Of course it could. It could start to make markets on the back end for the financial system like crazy. So something's coming. What is it going to be? I don't know. Is it going to be no bump up? Is it going to be a crash? Is it going to be more sideways movement? Because we've seen that for years. Or are we going to see some version of it rhyme or repeat to what we've seen in history's past? All I know is the technical analysts say that this tight squeeze you see of the Bollinger Bands, when it gets very tight, it usually means a bullish breakout as you've seen in history's past. It's tighter here than we've ever seen it in XRP's history chart, or chart history. So it is yet to be determined. The good news is we're all here for it. And I'm glad we're here together. And I'm super grateful that you guys let me into your lives every single day. And for those of you who have not done it, please hit the like and subscribe. I appreciate you being here. And I'll catch all of you on the next one.